Hello again, gamers. This is Souse. Today I'm going to do a brief run through on power systems in Arena Commander Star Citizen. We'll use the Avenger here as our model when we go through things. And since we're going to talk about power systems and whatnot with the Avenger, we might as well talk a little bit about the Avenger real quick. So here is the Avenger. It's an interceptor / interdiction model, kind of supposed to be based off of like a police car, if you will, like a retired police car. So you can buy like a used squad car or something along those lines. This is the same concept. Buy a Crown Victoria because the cops use it. Well, here's your personal private Crown Victoria, for example. It is 19 meters long, weighs in at 13,000 kilograms. It has a max crew of one person, though I think you can put more people on there. And it has a cargo capacity of 32 freight units, so it has some cargo to it. It's got a TR5 primary engine. It's got 8 TR1 maneuvering thrusters and a size 3 power plant. When it comes to weapons, it's got 2 Class 2 hardpoints. So let's talk about those first. These on the wings are the Class 2 hardpoints. They're, remember, Class 1 hardpoints. Remember, Class 1 are fixed, non-gimbaled. Originally, those are going to come with the Joker Sucker Punch distortion cannon, but they're broken right now. I think the overall concept of the Sucker Punch cannon is going to be the ability to take down power and shield systems and a better way to cripple other ships that you're after rather than destroy them. Kind of along the police model, the police line. Right now it's got a couple of Badgers, I believe, or Bulldogs, one of the two, but they're one of the lower repeaters that they're giving us on both wings until they fix the Sucker Punch cannons. On the nose here, this is a Class 2 gimbaled mount. It is the Tiger Streak. It is a kinetic weapon. It fires bullets. It has a magazine, has ammunition to it. It's not an energy-based weapon like the energy repeaters here on the wings. And then under the wings here are Class 3s. You get a total of 4 Stalker IR infrared rockets. Again, just very similar to the Class 3s on the Hornets. Moving on past that, it's got a Class 3 shield, max size of 3. And then its additional equipment that it has aboard this thing are called a prisoner retention system, which you can see back here. The only way that you can currently get into the Avenger is through this back access panel right here. And we'll go up in here, and this is the prisoner retention area. These are all these units here. So if we put on our pretend caps, pretend we're playing Bounty Hunter in Star Citizen, and we grab a bounty, we can lock them up in here. And just imagine if you were a non-NPC, an actual player character getting locked up in here for any prolonged period of time. That would probably suck. So this area, I'm assuming, is going to be the modular compartment when they come out with the modular system for the Avenger. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what kind of different options and different mods the Avenger comes up with, as far as like rumors about like the Warlock, which is supposed to be an electronic countermeasures and electronic warfare ship. So that could be quite interesting. We'll move through this compartment. And this is kind of like the pseudo galley area, living quarters, although you can see as of right now it's pretty bare bones. Wouldn't be surprised if they come up with some sort of galley or facilities in here, but it does have a bed. The bed's right here, and it is quite shiny. It's a nice shiny bed. Alright, moving through this door, this is the cockpit, and this is where we will hop up in here, and we will go ahead and launch Arena Commander and go ahead and play with some power systems. Alright, here we are. We'll use Free Flight and Arena Commander as our test bed. What fantastic graphics with the lighting and the contrast and everything here in Broken Moon. So, moving back indoors here. So, a couple things we'll talk about. We'll talk about looking at the HUD here, up left-hand corner, the power systems and weapon systems, etc., etc. So up top left, you'll see the 4 icons: overview, weapon, power, shield. Those can be toggled between using your F keys. F1 for overview, F2 for your weapon systems, F3 for your power system, and F4 for shields. And then kind of F1, like I said, is kind of the overview of all things. You'll also notice here the bottom left and bottom right hand corners. Keep an eye on that. Bottom left hand corner is your electronic signature. Bottom right corner is your heat signature, your infrared signature. So as we know, we have different types of missiles, different types of sensors and whatnot, and they're going to be picking up on different signatures. That was the big thing in Arena Commander 1.0, was the signature system, and they're going to keep on tweaking that and working on that as we move along. The Stalker IR, for example, uses infrared signatures in order to pick up. So in essence, in theory, if you have a very low IR signature, it should be very difficult for an infrared weapon or device to lock onto you. Conversely, if you have a very low electronic signature, it should be very difficult for a radar or electronic weapon to lock onto you, or even target you for that matter, a targeting system for that matter. So something to keep an eye on as they continue to tweak the system and continue to tweak it so you can shut down systems and whatnot and move around a little more stealthily, as I'm going to show you. So let's move on to weapon systems here. Okay, you'll see the weapons that are shown on the left hand side here. I will now hit down the tab button, and when I hit tab, it moves into a free look, so you can truly appreciate the HUD, how it's attached to your helmet. And then if I hold down tab, I'll get a mouse cursor, and that mouse cursor, then I can function through all these different weapons, and under the weapon system I can group them. That's what these little dots are, and these numbers here along the side. So my fire group 1 would be whatever I have activated there. Fire group 2 would be whatever I have activated here. I could set fire 3. I can set fire groups for my flares, for my chaff, electronic countermeasures, etc. So fire group 1 only has the Tiger 3 front class 2 weapon on it, where weapon group 2 has the 2 Badger repeaters, or Bulldog repeaters on them. Let go of tab, and now I'm back in the free look, and now we'll hit F3 and we'll move on to the power system. Hitting tab again until I get my cursor, you'll see now I have all the different weapons here under G1, and then I've got my shield here under G2, and you'll see I have my thrusters here under G3. That has a lot to do with the power allocation system right here, G1, G2, G3. So we're going to spend some time talking about that right now. So here, I can select each one of these weapons, and I can deactivate them. These would be the weapons and the missile systems right here.
Weapon system offline. Weapon system. Weapon system offline. Weapon system active. Weapon system.
Alright, so it's a little glitchy right now, telling me things are active even though I haven't selected them before. But the important part is I want you to notice down here how the electronic signature begins to lower. Now we have an electronic signature of 88, where we started off much higher, versus the ambient signature right here of 20. I feel that the closer we get to 20, the more difficult it is to be able to pick you up from the ambient electronic signature in the area. We can go ahead and shut our shields down.
Shield.
And you see that we have a dramatic drop here in our electronic signature. And then we can even shut down our engines. This would be our maneuvering thrusters, and then our main engine we can shut down there as well. We're going to have some fun with that in a little bit. Now, you can also allocate power to one of these 3 sections right here, kind of on the fly, depending on what you're doing to kind of fit your game style. If you're doing combat, or if you're doing, just going from point A to point B, or maybe you're worried about bumping into some asteroids or something like that. So G1 is your weapons, G2 is your shields, and G3 is your thrusters. You can adjust those using your number keys, not your number pad, but your number keys. Okay, G1 would be used by number 1, so if I hold down the 1 button, all my power gets allocated towards my weapons, recharging my weapons faster. If I hold down number 2, That boosts power to my shields, charging my shields faster. And then, of course, if I press down number 3, that boosts all power to my thrusters, thus giving me the maximum efficiency towards the thrusters. I can reset the shields or reset the power system by kind of manipulating all these buttons here and put it back in the middle. You can also split it between a couple of them if you like. So if 1 and 2 are my shields and weapons, if I want to go into combat, let's say, and I'm not too worried about being able to get up to max speed the fastest, but yet I want to boost my weapons and shields, I'll hold down numbers 1 and 2 at the same time, and we'll get right up to the top there and split our powers that way. I can still drop it down a little bit towards 3 and see that now we'll put 20 towards the shields. So you can play with it, really customize how you want to go about playing in Arena Commander here, or in the persistent universe when it comes out. I have some voice attack functions that will automatically give me power to weapons and shields when I want to combat, or if I'm in evade mode, it'll bring it down more towards here so I can get away and still have some shield regeneration ability, but I'm not worried about attacking at that particular time. So that is a brief overview of how to adjust your power allocation. I'm going to power up the shields now by pressing tab, and then go down to my shields and power those suckers up. It's going to take some time to power my shields up, so I'll press F4, and you'll see the shield system slowly recharging there. The Avenger stock shield is not nearly as responsive as maybe a frontline combat ship along the lines of a Hornet or something along those lines. So I'm going to wait for these to recharge and for my dogs to stop barking in the background, and when they're done, we'll move on. Now that our shields have reset and everything, we can play around with them a little bit. So you'll notice on the top left-hand corner there, where the wireframe of our Avenger is, you'll see the blue lines around it. Those represent the shields. It has 4 directional shields on it right now, as well as other ships having top and bottom shields, where the Avenger does not. Just below it is the grid reference. You'll see FBLR and then TB on the right where it's grayed out. FBLR, of course, means front, back, left, right, and TB would mean top and bottom. Again, the Avenger not having top and bottom shields where the Hornet or maybe other combat ships may. We can adjust those shields in a few different ways. One, by using our numpad and pushing up or the 8 key to move shields towards the front. Or we can do a 2 key, the arrow down, and move shield towards the back. And then you'll note there that it takes a little bit of time to move that shield power on the Avenger from the front to the back with this specific model of shield. You'll also notice, look down here, look at our electronic signature numbers. They're significantly higher than they were before we powered up our shields. Before we were down much closer to the ambient noise of 20. So having those shields powered up makes you by far and away noisier in space and easier to find when you've got shields powered up. We can press the 5 key, and that resets us right back to the middle of the shields. Or we can go ahead and hold down tab again, and we can adjust those shields, and we can play with them however we feel we want to have them. It gives you a little more options to mess with. Alright, let's move back to the power systems. So pressing F3, we're back in power. And remember, we have our thrusters shut down. Alright, this is where things become a little bit more fun. We'll hold down tab, and we will activate our directional thrusters.
Engines active.
And look on the bottom right-hand side there, our infrared signature has jumped up quite a bit because we've got some heat being produced. And now we can go ahead and we can move around. We can actually fly forward, all right? And we can fly forward all the way up to the Avenger's top speed of 220 meters a second. So it's interesting to note that we can do just about whatever we want in Arena Commander, whatever we need to do in Arena Commander without having our main thrusters activated. This kind of falls in line with what they had talked about as far as the main thrusters being more for your mid to long range flying versus your directional thrusters being for just maneuverability here and getting you top speed in this range. So I will hold down tab, and let's do the opposite. Let's go ahead and turn those off.
Engines. Offline.
Offline, yes. And we'll turn our main thrusters on.
Engines.
Listen to that sound as you see the blue glow coming out of the main engines of the Avenger. And now we're going to throttle forward, and we're going to be able to move around forward. But when we start going into, let's say, a roll, I'm going to let go of my stick now. You see it takes a lot longer for us to come back in line. Not to mention, let's change directions. Moving slow, I hope I don't hit an asteroid. And I have like very little controls. I'm pushing all the way forward. And look at the direction of our travel by the space dust and everything. We're still pretty much moving in the opposite direction because we have no directional thrusters. So it's kind of scary flying around right here in asteroids with very little power. So I'm going to quickly try to get back in the cockpit and give us back power. Tab down to our directional thrusters, and look at that, snapping back online, and here we are back under control. So interesting. It'll be fun to play with that as more content becomes available. Let's go ahead and jump back into the hangar now. Well, that about wraps that up. I hope this was helpful and you learned something. If I missed something or you have something to add, please feel free to comment below. Yes, you want to like this channel, and I appreciate you guys watching. In the meantime, I will try to figure out how to mind my head and get out of the Avenger. I think you got to aim towards one of these corners. Oh, there we go. And I will see you guys in the next video. Leader.